You so much. Good evening, board members, Superintendent Terman, stakeholders. I will review this evening the progression of the Esser program to date. The Elementary Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund has been implemented in the district for the last 3 years. This was to address the following areas: learning loss, preparing the schools for reopening to make sure that our precious jewels were safe, to have a conducive learning environment, as well as upgrading the learning environment to improve the air quality in several of our buildings. ESSER 1 allocation is depicted on the slide before you. Now you asked, how was this funding spent in our district? To date, we have utilized the funding to, of course, have a smooth, safe transition for our students and our staff by purchasing personal protective equipment such as masks, sanitary items to ensure that our schools were safe for the learning environment to be conducive. Additionally, salaries and benefits, as well as the HBLA contract with Montgomery Intermediate Unit, and we had to provide funding to our non-public schools programs, as well as technology fees. This slide depicts the financial forecast to date. The bulk of the funding, as I indicated, was spent on salaries and benefits. The bar graph depicts the expenses and revenues over the years of the grant. ESSER 1, as you may have not known, has sunset effective September 30th, 2022. The district was definitely successful in implementing all of the items that was outlined and presented to PDE in our budget narrative. Moving on to ESSER 2, which we are currently implementing today. How has the district spent ESSER 2 funds, you may ask? ESSER 2 funds will be continually spent until September of 2024. All assets must be liquidated by that time. This particular slide shows the financial forecast to date for ESSER 2. We are definitely on target in expending our revenues to match expenses to date. For this year, we budgeted $14 million, and a little over $5 million have been spent in processing expenses to date. So definitely we are moving forward with ensuring that we are implementing the plans as outlined for the $14 million for this school year. ESSER 2's funds has been used to, of course, teacher retention, paraprofessional, overtime class coverage in order to support teachers and paraprofessionals in the buildings in which we have a teacher shortage. We wanted to ensure to try to keep them around in the buildings up to date, as well as salaries and benefits for music, art, library media specialists, and of course, the multi-tiered support MTSS professional development for our educators to ensure that we are looking at the data, we are tracking the data, and we are ensuring that we are putting items in place to reach the entire child. We're looking at ways to differentiate instruction, as well as support social and emotional learning. Of course, we are also still implementing the online program tuition, as well as working with PA counseling in several of the buildings, implementing the social and emotional one-on-one counseling sessions, as well as group sessions with our youngsters. We are implementing several online computer assistant technology programs to, like I indicated previously, to support students as they are moving towards mastery of standards and addressing those deficiency areas as needed, and as well as the individuals who are actually on grade level, excelling them beyond their current status. One-to-one Chromebooks for our students, as well as summer school programming, academic supplies, classroom furniture, and HVAC projects across the district. I have currently worked with the building level principals and leaders in order to develop what I called a spending plan for each one of the buildings that outline the 4 buckets that they would be utilizing in order to support their staff and their students as we matriculate through this school year. The ultimate goal is to ensure that we're tracking the data, providing that differentiated instruction, as well as social and emotional learning, not only for our students, but for our staff as well. ESSER 3 allocation for the district is outlined. What are some of the ongoing projects that we are utilizing ESSER 3 funds? We have been able to provide several key positions from this particular funding source: HBLA project manager, HBLA teachers, me as our administrator, happy to be here, as well as some of our large contractors, Living Well contract, which is really supposed to be trying to support not only the social and emotional learning of our students, but to bridge the gap between school and home. So that is the ultimate goal. I worked with Dr. Stokes in providing an accountability measure for this particular vendor to ensure that they had measures in place that was standardized and outlined in order for us to see if what they're implementing in our building is being successful for our students and our families. We also have behavior specialists in elementary, middle, and high, as well as the supervisor of extended learning. Another one of our vendors is Effective School Solution, which is another contractor that is supporting students to be successful in our buildings as well. I have also worked collaboratively with Dr. Stokes to create an accountability plan that has measures in order for this particular contractor to show that what their strategies that they're implementing based on the indicators are being successful for our students. HVAC replacements, and of course, on last evening, steel renovations. We had the first opening informational session. I think it went really well. We had a couple of exciting parents who asked a lot of pertinent questions and provided feedback to the administration on some of the things that we could consider moving forward with this project. Student recognitions, staff recognition. Later on in the presentation, you will see some of the things that have already been implemented utilizing this funding source throughout the district. Technology, academic supplies, subscriptions to various assisted technology programs in order to enhance instructional delivery, as well as to support our HBLA online school system. Our ESSER 3, effective of December 22nd, 2022, you see outlined on the depiction of the slide what has currently been spent to date, the different categories that we're utilizing this funding source. And the bulk of this funding source is being allocated to salaries, of course, and then professional services, benefits, supplies, and property. To date, as you can see on this particular slide, it shows you the expenditures as well as revenues for each fiscal year. You see FY21 and FY22, where we currently stand. Expenses in FY21 was a little over close to 1.5 million. Revenue kind of balanced out as well. And when you're looking at FY22, 2.4 with revenue of a little over 3.9 million. So the directors and the principals have, as I indicated earlier, created a spending plan where we are tracking the spending monthly to ensure that the money is being spent expeditiously, but it's being spent in a meaningful way in alignment to the budget narrative that was submitted to PDE. This slide depicts the current budget for FY 22-23. We budgeted a little over 33 million, and to date in revenue, we have little over 4 million, and expenses 2.4 million. All funds for this particular grant will be liquidated by January 2025. In my next progress report, I really want to focus in on the set-aside funds. I met with Ms. Kruzik with regards to after-school programming and summer programming. I really wanted to see the outline, whether or not we were addressing the needs and concerns of the students based on our test data. And I was very pleased and happy to be able to bounce off different strategies and ideas with her. And she was very receptive, and a lot of the things that she shared was already on my radar. So I'm very happy to say that we are going to be continuously providing quality programming for our students in the after school as well as summer. With the summer program, adding a little bit of extracurricular to make it fun, but project-based learning to ensure that students are still picking up those necessary skills in order to be successful. I will be meeting with Ms. Slaughter later on in the week to discuss the learning loss budget and what are some of the things that would be continuously implemented for our students and families. One of the major things that I wanted to set out to do is we always talk about the data, we always present what we're going to do. I wanted to actually go out to the buildings and actually see it in action. And that's what I did. Since I've been here, I've been to all of the sites, I've met with all of the principals and created spending plans and collaborated with them effectively. So I am very excited about what is moving forward. In math and science, Marshall's Math and Science, I went out, I had the opportunity to see the STEM lab, to communicate with the teacher, talk about some of the activities and actually see some of the models that the students had already completed to date. At Scott Elementary and Ben Franklin, you will see in the video, the playgrounds are already in place. Each school's had an allocation for outdoor equipment and theirs is already in place. John Harris, I talked about early on about incentives for teachers and staff as well as for students. So John Harris decided to reward their students with a evening out to the movies to see the Panthers for all of the students who made honor roll. It was a very exciting event. Students talked about how they enjoyed being out with something positive with their classmates.
Welcome to Ben Franklin School. I'm Nicole Snook, principal, and I'm excited to share and present our new playground. The new playground will be a safe, fun environment for students to socialize and spend time with their peers. Research says that there are strong connections between the importance of play and student growth and development that are directly tied to student academic, social, and physical skill sets. We know that our new and improved playground will definitely bring students lots of joy for years to come.
Hello and welcome to our new Scott School Playground. We are so excited to debut our brand new playground. We are actually going to have two playgrounds, one for our kindergarten and first grade scholars and the rest for our scholars in grades 2 through 5. When we have active play, it engages the mind, it engages the body. Students can grow their fine motor skills, their coordination, and it just makes for a better day when you sprinkle in a little play.
We have always strived to be the premier STEM middle school in not only the capital city area, but the state of Pennsylvania. And we were without a place to do all of our projects. So we redesigned what was our library and constructed a STEM lab. We put new floors in, all new furniture in, and designed it specifically for some of the projects that we were going to be working on this year and in the future. We wanted it to be a space that we could grow into as we developed. We color coordinated everything so that we were able to continue the station rotation model that the district has adopted. And it's been awesome to see the kids in here building the projects.
Thank you so much for indulging me and watching the great things that are actually going on in Harrisburg school system with regards to the utilization of the Esser funding. It is very important that we continue to provide the most quality education as possible for our young scholars.